This is a story of 3 ordinary women with extraordinary spirit. Women who shaped their own destiny and realized their dreams. Women who would not wait for the authorities or the government to help, but made their own roads. Women who held a torch to guide the way, from darkness into light, from ignorance into knowledge, from bondage into freedom. Kamla lives in a sleepy hamlet called Sironj in Rajasthan. When Kamla got married, she faced a strange dilemma. This village, like many others around it, had no electricity. With the setting sun, the village would be shrouded in darkness. The women had to finish all their chores before sunset. Kamla's life was engulfed in darkness. She wanted to step out of this house, out of this darkness. She chose to shape her own destiny. Barely educated till class 5, she stepped out of her veil to take control of her life. And soon, she rose to become India's first barefoot solar engineer.
आज गांव की लुगाया ने या गरीब परिवार ने जो जगह देवे ना आगा तो खूब काम कर दिखा नहीं कि बे में दिमाग नहीं दिमाग खूब है पढ़े लिखा में दिमाग नहीं है भगवान लोग में दिमाग नहीं दिमाग तो सब में अपने बगन गरीब आदमी है तो आगा मैंने मौका ही नहीं मिला तो बकड़ जा.
The story of Kamla is not an ordinary one. Kamla has 3 sisters. All 4 of them married 4 brothers. Living in the same house, they shared all household work. From working in the fields to cooking at home, from fetching water to looking after the children, they all shouldered equal responsibility. As a young child, Kamla wanted to study. Her parents agreed to send her to a night school. These night schools were makeshift sheds with kerosene lamps. Low light, an unstable flame, an irregular supply of oil meant that most night schools were often drowned in darkness. So not too many children would go to these night schools, and parents would certainly not allow girls to go to night schools. Years went by, but nothing improved. Kamla was now married and living in a different village with similar problems. One day, an NGO called Social Work and Research Center opened a night school in their village, and the NGO wanted a local woman to teach there. Since Kamla herself attended a night school till class 5, she volunteered.
बेगा माँ बाप जो मजदूरी करे तो भी का कोई घर में एक गाय है कोई एक भैंस है तो अब भी गाय भैंस न कौन देखा तो ई के लिए वे छोरा छोरी पढ़वा भेजा को ना तो दिन में मैंने मौका ही नहीं मिला गरीब आदमी ने दिन में मौका नहीं मिला तो बस बाहर ब्याह के लिए संस्था है रात की स्कूल खोली भाई बबी अनपढ़ नहीं रही जान बाहर मोह पहली भैंस चराती ये रात संस्था स्कूल नहीं खोलती तो मैं भी बिल्कुल ही अनपढ़ रहती आज मैं भी रात की स्कूल में 5वीं पढ़ी हूँ.
But Kamla's quest for light did not end there. She decided to opt for training in solar technology at the Barefoot College, Tilonia. This would not have been easy. A woman from the Jat community would not go out and work. This was like sacrilege. Her mother-in-law would have none of it. But Kamla too stood her ground. Her father-in-law supported her.
तो भी मैं 2 महिला चुनी दूसरी तो तैयार हो गई ना फिर मैं तुम्हारा ससुरा जी थोड़ा पढ़े लिखे समझदार आज भेजती है सास तो मना की बने ससुरा जी ठीक है समझदार आज भाई दिन जार पे शाम का 5 घर आ जाएगा कोई दिक्कत को ना मजदूरी भी तो जावे के दन्ना तो काम करवा दो.
At Thilonia, she was trained to be a solar engineer. She spent days and nights at the campus learning the skills and fighting her fears. She was carrying a burden of centuries. A woman had come out of her house, something no woman in her village had done before. She was training to earn a skill and a living, again something no woman in her village had done before. Tongues began to wag. People doubted her. She herself was not sure, because she was not educated enough and she was alone.
अटपटो लागे जाने अपन सीख नहीं सका अपन तो काम पढ़ेड़ा है गुना भी हम थोड़ा एबीसीडी अंग्रेजी में आ कंपोनेंट का नाम वाई आईसी ट्रांजिस्टर जीनो डायोड कैपेसिटर ट्रांसफार्मर तो मन लग गया आपने तो कतई नहीं सीखनी अपन तो तब पढ़ेड़ा है गुना पर फिर मैं सरल तरीका हूँ ट्रेनिंग दी.
After a few months of training, Kamla was armed with a skill and a newfound confidence. She took to the streets. Armed with her tools, she traveled barefoot to several houses. She made solar lanterns, fixed solar equipment, undertook maintenance and repair. She was now a woman on a mission. Slowly but surely, everyone took notice. This unassuming frail mother of two made house calls. Now she was respected by all. Gradually, many other women took to the same training and joined Kamla in their journey towards light.
आज पढ़ी लिखे भी डिग्री ले रहा सोलर बना हुआ इंजीनियरिंग को काम कर रहा आज एक गांव की महिला भी बना सका कम पढ़े लिखे भी बना सके.
An example has the power to change the world, like a shining light descending on darkness. And when the example is a woman like Kamla, her light becomes a beacon for others. Today, Kamla is a source of inspiration. Hundreds of women from several rural areas have come here and trained in solar technology. Be it solar lanterns, lighting fixtures, or solar cookers.
कमला ने मेरे को हिम्मत दिलाया कि देखो आप डरना नहीं और हिम्मत से काम लेना है. अगर कोई काम नहीं आएगा मैं आपकी मदद करूंगी क्योंकि मैंने सीखा है तो मैं आपको सिखाऊंगी.
Kamla's solar lantern has changed the face of these villages. The flickering flame of kerosene has been replaced by the steady, clean light. As a result, night schools have become more regular. The girl child now has a chance. Kamla became the field coordinator for 17 villages. She is now the decision maker for most activities in these villages. From a meager sum of 300 rupees a month for teaching at the night school, she is now getting more than 2,200 rupees per month. From managing creches to organizing meetings, she does it all quite effectively. She may not have started a movement, but she has surely made a dent in the mindsets. Hers is now a household name. People respect her and depend on her. For Kamla is no ordinary woman, and hers is no ordinary story. Courage comes in many forms. She has many faces. Her name is Congress Kumar, an extraordinary girl with a name that is quaint and different. Nobody knows why her parents named her so, but she certainly turned out to be different. Congress comes from a family of 3 brothers and 4 sisters. She was born into an orthodox Sondhiya Rajput family of Jhalawar in Rajasthan, a proud people who live by a strict code of honor. One day when UNICEF opened a basic school in her village, Congress wanted to enroll. She was shocked when her parents sent her brothers to school, but not her. She had other important chores to look after, her family told her. All girl children had to graze cattle and help with household chores. Congress was not the one to keep quiet. She would continuously keep peeping into the school. Her mother relented, but under one condition. She would be allowed to go to school if she finished all her household chores before that. Congress took on the challenge. Every day she would wake up at 4 in the morning to finish her domestic duties before rushing to the school.
मैं पढ़ाई बहुत करना चाहती हूँ और मेरी इतनी इच्छा है कि मैं सबसे आगे बढ़ जाऊँ.
School changed everything for her. School gave her a window to the world, a window to independence. She went out for excursions. She discovered new worlds. She learned to express herself.
मैंने तो मेरे पास वाले से ये डक भी नहीं देखा था कि डक कैसा है, और मुझे ये भी नहीं पता था कि मेरे गांव का स्कूल कैसा है, ये भी नहीं देखा था मैंने. और मैं पहले जैसे बस से मैं बहुत डरती थी, मैं समझती थी कि बहुत बड़ी चीज है, तो मैं बस को ऐसे समझती थी.
Then one fateful day, her life was to change dramatically. As Congress returned home from school, she saw some strange people at home. Her parents told her that they have come to fix her marriage, as she is now of marriageable age. Stunned at hearing this, Congress uttered, "No." Her mother tried to console her. She was told that her destiny is not at school, but with her in-laws. This was the turning point in Congress's life. She mustered up all her courage and put her foot down. She uttered a word no other girl her age had said before, and she meant it. She said, "No." It was then that Congress remembered that on a school trip they had visited a police station where the officer had answered several queries. In one of those queries, the officer had promised that if the children wanted to report a case of child marriage, they simply had to call the police. When her family did not agree, Congress decided to take matters in her own hand. She walked up to the visitors and told them that if they did not leave the house, she would call the police.
मुझे तो थानेदार जी ने कहा था, तो मुझे तो किसी बात की डर नहीं थी, तो मैंने तो डायरेक्ट फिर मैंने कहा कि इनको क्या समझा रही हूँ मैं, सबसे पहले तो मेहमान को भगाऊं यहाँ से, फिर इनको समझाऊंगी.
Congress's family was upset. They harassed her no end. Her teachers at school came to her house and convinced her parents about the need to educate their daughter. Congress wanted to study. She had dreams in her eyes.
पढ़ाई पूरी करके जो भी कोर्स होता है वो कर लूँ, चाहे कुछ भी हुआ, टीचर का हुआ, डॉक्टर का हुआ, इंजीनियरिंग का, काय का भी कोर्स हुआ, जो मेरे को अच्छा लगा वो कोर्स मैं पूरा कर लूँगी.
The news of her courage reached far and beyond. With the help of a local NGO, she became instrumental in taking the message to many other children like her. Now there is a definite process in place to create awareness against the evils of child marriage. Her successful fight against her impending marriage took Congress to Berlin, where State of the Children report was being presented. There she addressed several German experts and lawmakers. A girl who never had time to comb her hair in the morning has now been speaking on several national and international platforms, arguing the case of the girl child and her aspirations. Today, the 13-year-old Congress has become the poster girl for UNICEF in Rajasthan. On 26th of January 2008, she was presented the Indian National Bravery Award by the President of India.
मैंने तो सोचा नहीं था कि मैं प्रधानमंत्री से मिल जाऊंगी और फिर वो मेरे को सम्मानित कर रहे तो मेरे को और भी बहुत अच्छा लगा.
In the desert region of Rajasthan, there is an old saying, the greatest of journeys begin with a small step. Surely, it is this step of courage that has taken Congress towards freedom. The story of Vidya Devi is different. She lives in the serene, lush mountainscapes of Himachal Pradesh. She was married into a well-off family in Shanag village of Kullu district. She has an orchard which she tends to. She has 2 beautiful children. She's educated and has almost everything that a woman like her would yearn for. When India adopted the 73rd Amendment, the seat of the Sarpanch in her village was reserved for a woman candidate. Being one of the few educated women, she won the seat and became the Sarpanch. This, however, was the turning point of her life. Once in power, Vidya Devi realized that life outside her home is not as pretty as the valley that she lived in. Society had its evils. Almost immediately, she discovered the ugly and dangerous world of the timber mafia. Every day, hundreds of trees were being cut and logs were smuggled out. She took on the mafia single-handedly and created a social awareness against deforestation. She went from one house to another, reaching out to people, mobilizing a movement that would save these trees.
जंगल नहीं होले जानवर नहीं होना जानवर नहीं होले आगे जमीन नहीं होना सही जमीन नहीं होली मानू नहीं होना मानू नहीं होले तो ऐसी विचारना नहीं होती मतलब एक सर्कल सा है ये कि दूसरे
Time went by. Her term as the Sarpanch was over. She had made her mark, but Vidya Devi was not satisfied. She felt that she needed to understand the people and their problems. She took out her life savings and decided to travel, to understand the land and the people that she belonged to. Her in-laws did not see any reason. They disagreed, but her husband stood by her. Vidya Devi began her journey, at times by bus and at times on foot. She traveled far and beyond, meeting people, understanding their issues. And what she went through was more than an eye-opener for her. Vidya Devi came back much more determined and committed. She realized that Himachal Pradesh is straining under the pressures of tourism. Increasing numbers of visitors have wreaked havoc on the local systems and the environment. Everything was cracking under pressure. Tourists come, tourists go, leaving behind a saga of garbage. Plastic bottles, Tetra packs, polybags, each one telling a tale of our modern degeneration. Water supply, electricity, heating. These are serious issues. All the areas affected by the tourism industry were suffering from an unplanned, unsustainable growth of tourism. For Vidya and the other women like her, this kind of tourism was unwelcome and unacceptable. She mobilized like-minded people and the youth to take up the matter seriously and with urgency. With some like-minded people, Vidya Devi has formed an organization called the Himalaya Niti Campaign, which acts like a pressure group promoting ecotourism and sustainable development. They are against figure-oriented tourism and encourage the idea of responsible tourism.
जो भी चीज़ लोगों के हाथ में रही है वो बची है। चाहे आप जंगल को उदाहरण के लिए देख लीजिए, जब तक जंगल लोगों के हाथ में थे वो बचे, और जैसे ही लोगों के हाथ से जंगल निकले, जंगल खत्म हो गए।
Vidya Devi mooted the idea of rural tourism with emphasis on sustainable infrastructure.
जैसे रूरल टूरिज्म की बात की है, उससे लोगों के डायरेक्ट लोगों को पैसा मिलेगा। उससे क्या हो कि ये जंगल बचेंगे तो लोगों को चारा मिलेगा साथ में, और लोगों को वहाँ से हरियाली, पानी, जो कैचमेंट एरिया है वो सारा पानी और की समस्या उनकी ख़त्म होगी। तो हर चीज़ उनको समय पे मिलती रहेगी और साथ में आमदनी भी मिलती रहेगी, जिससे कि हमारे यहाँ के स्थान भी बचे रहेंगे और एक वो पारिस्थितिक विकास की हम जो बात करते हैं वो एक साइकिल चलता रहेगा।
The people of this region are colorful and vibrant. Vidya Devi celebrates life on all given occasions. She's not superstitious, but has faith in people's potential. The people here live in harmony with the mountains and forests around them. Vidya Devi has realized this. The forests can support their need, but not their greed. She believes that issues like environment protection should be linked to people's livelihood. Herb collection and cattle grazing are activities that people have been doing for centuries. But now, with uncontrolled deforestation, timber mafia and other issues, the forests cannot be sustained.
इन स्थानों को अगर बचाना है तो लोगों को जहाँ से आमदनी होती है, जहाँ से उन्हें कुछ मिलता है, तो उस चीज़ को बचाए रखने में वो ज़्यादा बेहतर समझते हैं। उन्हें लगता है कि हमें यहाँ से कुछ मिल रहा है तो हमें इस चीज़ को बचाना भी है। तो इस तरह से लोगों की एक सस्टेनेबल लाइवलीहुड और जो कंजर्वेशन है सही तरीके से हो सके।
Vidya Devi walks tall like the mountains around. She looks after her children, her orchard, her family, her household duties. And in addition to all that, she's completely devoted to protecting her environment. Like Kamla, she has dared to change her own world. Like Congress, she has overcome several obstacles. But Vidya Devi shares one common ground with these women. They are all sources of inspiration, igniting a spark for a brighter tomorrow. Light and energy, fire and ice. These three women personified determination in different ways. Three women who have shown to the world what a single woman can do for herself and for her society. They are the faces of courage, of inspiration, of change.